Hey guys, what's up? Oh boy, lots of pickups for this new video. Wow, some of these are from fans, gifts from fans, stuff they sent me, and some others are games that I have picked up along the way over the past few weeks or months. That's right. Wow, can't wait to show all of these to you guys and talk about it. Jesus, it's a hell of a lot. I don't think the camera is showing everything. That's more at the bottom right here where the camera isn't showing. Oh boy, this is gonna be a long video, so let's just get right down to it. Alright, first game I want to talk about is, wow, my god, can't wait to talk about this game. It's the only Nintendo DS RPG on the list, and it's one that I am very fond of. It's among my favorite non-Japanese RPGs. It's a Canadian RPG, and that is Might and Magic Clash of Heroes. This game right here, complete in box. You have no idea how long I have been looking for this game. And now that I finally have it, it's just like... You know that feeling, right? If you collect video games, or even if you don't collect games, if you're just looking for a game for a long ass time, and when you finally get it on your hands, and you don't just touch it and then play it, it's like, oh yeah. You know the feeling, you know the feeling. So what is this? This game is... well, it's an RPG, yeah, but the battle system is like, how do I put this? It's a puzzle game, but the puzzle is at the same time an action and also strategy. I don't know what the hell am I supposed to call this game. I just think it's fantastic. I mean, your enemy is in the upper screen, and you manage your army on the bottom screen, and then you gotta do these combinations and attacks against your enemies to beat the crap out of your enemies, their armies, and just eventually beat them. And the story is quite good. For a game like this, you never would have thought they would come up with such a good story. It's not that great of a story, but it's pretty decent, pretty damn decent. Story is told through 5 different protagonists, and well, you play one route first, and then the second one, it's completely different. I mean, the battle system stays the same, but each one of them has their own attributes, like certain types of monsters and enemies, their command. And overall, it's not a masterpiece, but man, it's nearly close being one, because it's a really great game. Very addicting game. I have put, goddamn, so many hours into this, because there's also a free battle mode. Just for fun, when you choose one random character against one other random character, and you just fight to exploit the battle system, the battle mechanics. And it's so goddamn addicting that you'll be playing this game for hours if you give this game a chance. I mean, but even if you don't, it doesn't change the fact that I absolutely love this. It's a Canadian RPG, part of the Might and Magic series, a big media franchise nowadays, Might and Magic, and I love it. And I'm so happy I have this game in my hands right now. Yeah, that's right. And it's not a DS exclusive. Well, I think the physical version of this game is exclusive to the Nintendo DS. All other versions are on the PS3, PS4 maybe, I think, Xbox One, everything. This game came out for everything. But the physical version, I'm not entirely sure, but it's only on the Nintendo DS. Alright, now that game is out of the way, because I couldn't wait to show it to you guys and to talk about it, let's start with the gifts that some of my fans sent me. I'm gonna start with Alain Mayville from Canada. He sent me a bunch of retro games here, and one in particular that is my absolute favorite. Nah, just kidding. my very first JRPG, the first role-playing game that I ever played in my life. And well, that is Final Fantasy Legend 2, also known as Saga 2. These are part of the Saga games. He also sent me the first one. The first 2. There are 3 games on the Game Boy. I'm missing the third one. And he sent me these 2 games. first two Final Fantasy Legend 1 and 2. Now, these were translated as Final Fantasy Legend just to abuse the name. This was Square Enix's idea to call them Final Fantasy here, but in Japan these are not Final Fantasy games, these are Saga games, part of the Saga franchise. And well, the only one that I have ever played is the second one. Like I said, it was my very first RPG. I can't talk about the first one because I've never played it. Now this game, Final Fantasy Legend 2, I've told this story so many times in other videos. I'm gonna leave some of those videos at the end so you can watch them if you're interested, because obviously this game is intrinsically connected to my love for RPGs. Well, cut story short, I was like 12 years old when I first played that game. It was for my friend. He lent me the game. I had my own Game Boy, and I put the game in, and it blew my mind, you know. It was just so different. I had never played something like that before. Turn-based battle system, you know, big long game, not something you could just finish in 2 or 3 hours like most Game Boy games back then. So it was pretty different. It was pretty original. Nothing like that before had ever come into my life. And I was so happy that I started. Back then there was no internet, so there was no way for me to know what kind of game it was. So I looked for it everywhere. Looked for other games that had similar gameplay mechanics or something that even remotely resembled this kind of game. And I found nothing until many years later when I came across Super Mario RPG. But that's another story. The thing is that this is the game that brought me into role-playing video games. It was almost like 7 or 8 years later that I found out these games were called RPGs. That's right. It's a long story. I might make exactly, I don't know, one full video about it, maybe someday. He also sent me this weird game from Dragon Warrior franchise called Dragon Warrior Monsters 2. Kobe's Journey. It's a weird game. I have absolutely no clue about this game, no idea. I've never played it. I'm familiar with the Dragon Warrior games, Dragon Quest franchise. I have no idea if this is turn-based or if this is about monster collecting. I think it might be something like that, but no idea. But in any case, thanks man for sending me these 3 Game Boy games. He also sent me, Ys 3, Wonders of the Ys. Everybody knows in this channel I'm a huge fan already of the Ys series. I'm a huge Falcom guy, and this game was the very first Ys game that I played in my life. I was like, oof, I'm talking about like 12 years ago. And back then this is a really hard game. It also came out on the Genesis and computer systems. And my god, it plays like a side-scroller RPG, action RPG. And it's brutally hard. Seriously, one of the hardest Super Nintendo RPGs in my opinion. And it was remade for the PSP called Ys the Oath in Felghana, which is also brutally hard by the way, but at least that game has a very easy mode, an easy mode and a very easy mode. That's right. But this one doesn't have anything of the sort. It's a really hard game, and I'm just so glad he sent it to me because it's not a hard to find game, or it's not a I don't know, an expensive game or something like that. But I just never found this game on Mexico, so I'm pretty glad he sent it to me. Ys 3, also known as Wonders of the Ys. Yeah, that's the third Ys game. He also sent me Final Fantasy 8. Yeah, I don't have this game. I have 7, I have 9. I don't even have Anthology. I might pick it up one day. And this was really easy to find, but I don't know, for some reason I just didn't have it. Maybe I didn't want to overpay for this game, you know. Final Fantasy 8, no point talking about it. The entire internet knows about it. Final Fantasy 8. These are the gifts these my friend sent to me. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate your donations to my channel. You are an awesome guy. Thank you for these great gifts. More gifts from another person. Who might be this other person? Somebody completely unknown to the channel? Maybe? Nah, I'm just kidding. Rem Reanimated. You all know who Rem is. You all know it. If you don't know, come on. She's there in every single one of my streams. She always donates like $2 per stream. I love her. She's awesome, and she sent me 4 PS4 RPGs. The first one, all of these I have been streaming them. And the first one is Darkest Dungeon. This is an indie RPG from the UK, I believe, or from Germany. I'm not entirely sure where it's from, but on the title screen there's the Kickstarter logo, so I'm guessing this is a Kickstarter. I should have looked into it, but I kind of didn't want to because I wanted to play the game without prejudices, just play it. I didn't even know it was an indie game after I played it. So it's a really hard game. This is like Dark Souls played in 2D in turns. It's not an action RPG, it's a turn-based RPG. And yeah, it's brutally hard, brutally unforgiving, quest-driven game. There's a story there, there's a story to follow, but the whole point of this game is to exploit the battle mechanics and to micromanage your estate, your campaign, for so to say. So Darkest Dungeon, it's been making a lot of noise. It also came out on other systems. I think it's on the Vita as well, and on computer, on PC. Check this game out, guys. It's really hard, but it's also brilliant. I mean, it has all this gothic atmosphere, this really dark game. I love this game. I mean, it's hard. It's not something that I'm going to become an addict, you know, like with Clash of Heroes. But it's definitely a game that I want to give a chance. Too bad it's not story-driven, but quest-driven, but that's okay. Check this game out, guys. It's really solid. Darkest Dungeon, PS4, PS Vita, PC, and maybe it came out for other systems. I think it's also on the Switch. Next is a game that I also streamed recently. It's called Arcania, The Complete Tale. And this is, Rem told me this is part of the Gothic series. Gothic series are German RPGs, I believe. And well, this game is like, wasn't exactly a letdown. It's an action RPG. It has a lot of problems, a lot of glitches, a lot of poorly executed gameplay mechanics. It's a mediocre game, it's not a bad game. I mean, at least now in my opinion, it's not exactly bad, but it's not good either. I don't think this is something I can recommend to anybody. But if you see this game for dirt cheap, I don't know, like $10 or less, pick it up and give it a chance, maybe you will like it. But overall, it's like a poor version, a mediocre version of the Witcher games or the Dragon Age games and all that stuff. But Arcania, I'm glad she sent this to me. It was pretty interesting to play something different from all the Japanese folklore that I'm used to. So Arcania, it's an okay game. Well, next is something really original that she also sent me called Vampire. I also streamed this on Twitch. Arcania was streamed on Twitch as well. For those who don't know, I have a Twitch channel and I will definitely leave it on the description below. Twitch. So yeah, Vampire, also known as Vampire, however you wish to pronounce it. I think it's Vampire. Wow, it's a game that takes place in London and on the 19th century. And you're this doctor who, by some sort of work of fate, that's all I'm gonna say, gets turned into a vampire, and he wants to find the guy who turned him into a vampire. But he's also a doctor, so he gets the job in a hospital in this sort of like post-apocalyptic London. And it's one of those games where every single decision counts. Everything you decide in this game counts. The game has not a save feature all the time. You can't manually save in this game. Well, I think you can, but the point is that this autosave feature doesn't let you come back and choose another option and choose another route. No, it punishes you for taking every single decision you make. So that's what's interesting about it. Pretty gothic game, also pretty dark game. Awesome story, very interesting characters. And the battle system is fast, it's great. I don't know, I like this game. I really enjoy this game. And I just wish it had gotten more attention. It's fairly recent, I think it was from last year, I believe. But in any case, Vampire, Western RPG, pretty well done. Totally recommended. Thanks, Rem. And last but not least, is God Wars Future Past. Also on the PS4. This guy also came out on the Switch and on the PS Vita. Maybe on PC as well, I'm not entirely sure. God Wars is a strategy RPG. I've talked about this game a lot of times this year. It has featured in a bunch of videos like the PS4 Hidden Gems, PS Vita Hidden Gems, rare JRPGs you should play. So I don't think I'm going to talk about this game much. It's just a strategy RPG, kind of isometric as well. You can clearly see the influence of Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre. If those games are right up your alley, this is a game you might enjoy. It's not a hard game. I mean, it has an easy mode, Even in normal mode, it's kind of hard, it's challenging, so the balance is there. God of War Future Past. Don't miss this game out on any system. And those are all the gifts I got this time from fans. Thank you guys for sending this to me. Ram, once again, you are an awesome person, but you already know that. Alright, let's keep going. Wow, we're not halfway through. No sir. This is a game, and I'm not gonna talk about it because I've talked about this game like 10 million times in my channel. That's Valkyria Chronicles. Now the Valkyria Chronicles Remastered. It says here $29.96 for some reason. I don't know. I got it sealed in the flea market, so I don't know. I didn't pay this price, but in any case, a fair price actually. Anyway, Valkyria Chronicles Remastered. I haven't played this game yet. I've obviously played the original on the PS3, and you guys know I'm a huge fan of that game and also of that franchise. So I'm guessing it's gonna be I don't know, it's gonna look better. I mean, full HD, 1080p. I have no idea what this remaster is all about, but I'll figure it out soon. Bloodborne, no reason to talk about it. Everybody knows this game. Yeah, Bloodborne. Yeah, let's move on. Great game. Just want to say that I'm not a fan of the Dark Souls games, but Bloodborne blew my mind. I mean, you guys know I'm a huge Gothic fan and all Goths, all that stuff. And this game also on the 19th century. Wow, my god, that is a great game. Brutally hard as well. I don't know, Dark Souls games turned me off. For some reason, they were kind of boring for my taste, but Bloodborne was awesome. I really enjoyed it. And now, wow, a game that I really need to talk about. I really need to talk about this game. You're not gonna believe it. It's Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom. My god. The entire internet knows I'm a huge fan of the first Ni no Kuni, right? I'm kidding. I'm not a fan of the first Ni no Kuni. I actually don't like that game. I have nothing against it. The art style in that game, the graphics blew me away. It's a beautiful game, but I don't know. It's just more monster collecting, monster training game, and very childish story. It's a game for kids, an RPG for kids, and I don't know. It's just something about Ni no Kuni that I just didn't like. But when I streamed this one of my fans sent this game to me digitally. And then I finally got it in a physical version. Why did I get it in a physical version? Because I liked it. Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom is an action RPG. It plays totally different from the first one. A lot of people trash this game, especially the original Ni no Kuni fans. Some people say it's a better game. In my opinion, it's not a better game. It's just I like it more. I like this game, and the first one I just didn't like it. I almost beat this game. I got to the final part, but there's a lot of micromanagement involved. You gotta build your castle, and you gotta recruit a lot of characters and all that jazz. And that might sound to you like Suikoden. Yes, imagine this is Suikoden for kids, but nowhere near as exciting as Suikoden. I mean, it does get kind of boring in some parts, especially if you don't like cute games or with cute stories or with, I don't know, maybe Disney stories or Studio Ghibli stories. You're not gonna like this game. But if you do, this is the game for you. This is a perfect RPG for kids. Me, I liked it. I never finished it because there was some requirement to improve your castle and whatever. And that kind of turned me off. But it's definitely a game I enjoyed and I wanted to have on a physical format. Now I do. Ni no Kuni 2, totally recommended. Alright. These two games are what happened when Hironobu Sakaguchi left Square Enix. Great decision, by the way. These are The Last Story and Blue Dragon, turn-based RPG, action RPG. This is the one that I want to talk about today. Blue Dragon, I've talked about this game like 3 times recently on my channel. No point talking about it. It's fairly popular on the Xbox 360 and exclusive to the Xbox 360, by the way, and this is an exclusive for the Wii. The Last Story is an action RPG. Very Final Fantasy stylish, as a matter of fact. If you play this game and you watch the graphics right now, you will totally think, wow, this could have been Final Fantasy 15, because this was made after Lost Odyssey. This was made, I think, after Final Fantasy 13. So this, in my opinion, should have been Final Fantasy 15. I played Final Fantasy 15 and it just wasn't good, in my opinion. It's not a bad game at all, but it's just something completely different and alienated from the Final Fantasy series. To me, it's Grand Theft Fantasy. I didn't like that game one bit. So in my opinion, the last story could have been Final Fantasy 15. It's a great game. I recommended this game before in a bunch of videos, but I haven't covered this game nearly enough because it deserves more attention. It is one of the absolute best action RPGs, or one of the absolute best RPGs in the system. Definitely check this game out, guys, before it gets more expensive. I got it for like $30, the equivalent of $30 US, and it's going up in price every single month, every single year. Don't miss your chance. If you see this game right now for like 30 or 40, get it. It's totally worth it. Okay, moving on to the PS3. On the PS3, I got these two games, White Knight Chronicles 1 and 2. Now, I've talked about this game before. This is a pretty underrated game. The point of these two games was to play online, but I think the servers are dead, and even if they're alive, nobody plays them anymore. But these have offline modes, and they're absolute great. They're pretty short. This is a pretty short game. I'm not going to talk about this game. I've talked about this game quite a few times in the past. This one is the one that I haven't played yet. That's right, White Knight Chronicles 2. And this game, so they're action RPGs, but more like real time, you know, something like Final Fantasy 12 or Xenoblade Chronicles. You just select the skills you want to use with your character and they execute them. You don't just button mash your controller. It's not a hack and slash game, that's what I'm trying to say. White Knight Chronicles 2, this version right here includes the first fully remastered White Knight Chronicles, the first one. Which means, if you're not a collector like me, you might want to skip on the first one and just get this one. However, if you're a collector, you might want to get both of them because they're dirt cheap. Like, this game should have been on my videos called Cheap RPG for Your Low Budget. I don't know why I didn't put these two games. They're dirt cheap, like $10 or less. So yeah, White Knight Chronicles 2, I hope is as good as the first one. They're not masterpieces or anything like that, but they're pretty underrated, and I think they deserve more attention. Moving on to two hidden gems. That's right, these are among the best hidden gems on the PlayStation 3, in my opinion. And I guess I'll start with Tears to Tiara 2. Tears to Tiara 2. Alright, this game. It's a strategy RPG. You might think it's one of those compile hard games and whatnot. Nope. This was made by a company called Aqua Plus. So it has no relationship with Nipponichi Software or Compile Hard or Idea Factory. But it does have a lot of fan service. The first Tears to Tiara, because this is the second one, you might be wondering where's the first one. The first one is not available for the PS3, I believe, and if it is, it's not an RPG. Came only in Japan. It's a visual novel. I hope I don't know if I'm right or wrong on this, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first one is a hentai game. Yeah. So this second one is not a hentai game. It's just a strategy RPG with visual novel elements. That means there's a tons of dialogue here and whatever, but the battle system is what matters, and it's really good. Solid strategy RPG. Definitely pick this up if you see it. It's not dirt cheap, but it's not expensive either. Maybe on $20, $30 range. Tears to Tiara 2, totally a hidden gem on the PS3. Next is Trinity. Souls of Zeal Owl. This is also part of a franchise, and that has never been released outside Japan. This is the first game of that franchise that's released here. The other ones were for the PS1, the PSP, I believe. I don't know anything about them. They're not translated, so I can't play them because I won't understand them. This one is vastly different from what I know, but forgetting about the fact that they're part of a franchise, this game in particular, it's a pretty solid action RPG. It's also a little bit like quest-driven. There's a story, but the story is not like, wow, great story, nah. Nothing of the story. It is an adult story. That's what I liked about this game. It's not about teenagers saving the world and the power of friendship and whatever. No, it's an adult story, quest-driven, and the action is, wow, like hack and slash, beat 'em up in 3D. Really solid, really addictive. This is a game you guys just can't miss. I mean, it's no masterpiece, of course, but if you're into action RPGs, fast-paced action RPGs, my God, give this great game a chance. Alright, so that's it for RPGs. There's one last RPG, but I'll leave it at the end because I'm so excited to talk about it, but you know, I always leave the best of the best at the end of my pickup video. Here's a bunch of games that are not RPGs that I picked up. I'm not gonna talk about these games. I mean, I'm not gonna show any gameplay footage because I have a second channel. For those who don't know, I have a second channel. I'll leave the link to it in the description below. Please subscribe to that channel, because in that channel I'm gonna be uploading content that is not RPGs. I mean, of course I'll continue to upload RPG content in that second channel, but I also will upload content and talk about games that are not RPGs. And I'm gonna talk about these games there. First of all, it's a shoot 'em up exclusive to the Xbox 360 called Dead Smiles. And yeah, I know, lollies, you guys know I'm definitely not a fan of lollies, but these are gothic lolitas. I'm not a fan of lolitas or lolis, but I am a fan of gothic stuff, gothic art style, and when I play this game, wow, this is a, you know, side-scrolling shoot 'em up. My god, it's fucking awesome. I totally recommend this game. Battle Fantasia, a fighting game by Arc System Works. By the look of it, you might think this looks like an RPG. It does have a story mode, has a few RPG elements, but it's a fighting game through and through by Arc System Works. Hidden gem, as a matter of fact. Hidden fighting game, gem. Another hidden gem is Puppeteer, platformer. Wow. Well, I said I'm not gonna talk about these games, but this is a game that I definitely need to talk about in my second channel, because there's a lot to talk about this game. It's just beautiful, magnificent. Puppeteer, wow, totally a hidden gem. More fighting games. This is Blast Blue Calamity Trigger. This is the cheapest of them all. I think it's the first Blast Blue ever made. I had to have it simply because I'm a huge fan of Arc System Works. King of Fighters. This is King of Fighters 12, and well, I think I like King of Fighters 13 better, but I don't have it yet. But I have this one, and it's pretty darn good. Dino Crisis, this version in particular has the Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, and this version of Dino Crisis goes for like 50 bucks, at least in Mexico, in my country. But I found this for a kick-ass deal. I think I paid the equivalent of 20 US dollars. That was steal, man. That was a no-brainer, and it's in perfect condition. Dino Crisis, a survival horror game from Capcom. Cult classic, great game. Last but not least, Alone in the Dark. Not exactly a huge fan of this game, but I got it for a pretty fair deal with the strategy guide. I don't collect strategy guides, but hey, I got this for like, I think I paid like 20 bucks also, 20 US bucks, the equivalent of that. And I was like, it was a no-brainer. It's also in perfect condition. Alone in the Dark, great survivor game. My last game, it's a JRPG. It's another Falcom game. It's another Ys game. I have been searching for this game like forever, like for years, man, years. Never found it except once in a store, but the guy who owns the store is kind of an asshole, and he wanted a fair price for it. He wanted like $30 for it, but I never paid it because it was, man, I hate this guy. I hate this guy. And I recently found it for much less than that, like 20 bucks. Ys 7 on the PSP. Yes! You have no idea how happy I am that I own this game, and wow, I'm a huge Ys fan. You guys know that. Man. And this is the very first Ys that I beat. Previously, I had played Ark of Napishtim Team on the PS2. Got my ass kicked in that game. I also played Ys 3, like I showed at the beginning of this video, on the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, and I also got my ass kicked. And I kind of stayed skeptical to the series for a long time. I mean, for years, I wanted nothing to do with the series. But then I heard that in this game, you had party members, something that you couldn't have before in previous Ys games. So I was like, and that caught my attention. I'm a huge party members guy. So when I played it, I was like, oh man, this is paradise. It's a masterpiece. This is one of the best Ys games ever made. Falcom, they're awesome. They may not make AAA games, but I don't give a damn. These are masterpieces, in my opinion, among the best RPGs in the system. Great action RPG, great game, guys. Unfortunately, it's a pretty expensive game. If you don't find this game like I did, out of luck, out of pure sheer luck, for like $20 or $30, you're gonna pay like 50 bucks for it, unfortunately, maybe 40. But yeah, it's going up in price. If you see this game for a cheap price, get it. Totally worth it, totally recommend it. That's right, this is a great game, my friends. That concludes my video. Sorry this took so long, there was a lot of games to show and to talk about, but that's it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!